I'd love to just dive into this topic, the topic of your book, and the focus of your work, which is empowering women business owners to have more flourishing and profitable businesses. Am I getting that correctly?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that and then how that relates to you about, how conscious we are. And then I'd love to dive into the topic of pricing. So you pick whichever one feels most natural to start with.
Well, let's talk about living consciously.
Okay.
In particular, what I find with a lot of women business owners in particular is that often we are reacting. We are not setting a course and being intentional about how we move forward. And that works against us. So part of being intentional is the planning piece and being prepared for whatever you want to accomplish. But here's the challenge. If we don't really know what we want to accomplish, if we don't really know what we want deep down, that makes it impossible for us to be intentional and to move out of that reaction phase. So I'm sure you could talk about that much deeper than I could, but I know from observation and my own experience that that is a roadblock for women business owners. So helping to prepare, there's probably several pieces to it. It's understanding what you want, preparing for that, implementing, and then being consistent, which is part of being intentional.
Yes. I see that consistency piece that falls out for most of my coaching clients. You can get around the intentionality, you can do the planning, but staying with it over the long haul, again, I think that's where conscious living comes in. For me, I say this isn't my business, it's my way of life. It's who I am. I am the product. What I do is such a self-expression, an expression of the very depth of my being. But so that keeps me going, quite honestly, through the difficult times, through the times that I don't feel inspired or motivated, but it's still at the very root, the core of who I am. So I think that consistency piece is probably the piece where people have the most difficulty, and knowing what you want. We live in such an externalized culture. We are spoon-fed so many things about the way life should be, about what success looks like and what it means. And one of the things I do in one of my programs called Life Design is I have people define for themselves what their definition of success and failure is. And I think so many people go through life with this notion of success, then never really accomplish it, and this fear of failure when they don't even know exactly what that means to them.
Yes, and I'll add to that, in addition to the shoulds, we trade the wants for shoulds, but also we are not really clear about what we want. We understand what we should want. And for the people that I work with who are experts in their fields, they're often technical experts, accountants, attorneys, engineers, and specialty consultants. And we tend to think things are binary. And I know because I fall into that trap too, of you either have success or you have failure. And there's nothing in between.
Right.
Which, of course, is not the way life works, and it's not the way business works.
You're going to have many failures on the way to success.
Well, and to your point, how do you define?
Right. How do you even know
what is success and what is failure? And what you may consider a failure, somebody else might consider a success. So it's so subjective. Yeah. And we get caught in those traps and really in our own minds with beliefs that make us feel like we're standing on a false foundation.